friends, good evening and welcome to another edition of Live at Night Soccer Talk. I'm Alex Parra. It's always great to be with you. Happy Thursday evening. All my days are running together. July 2nd, 2026, if you can believe it. We're on live via Deportes Nation X, Deportes Nation Facebook, and Deportes Nation YouTube. A lot to talk about. Continuing on, day 22 of the 2026 World Cup. It's a marathon. We're getting there. And we're missing it already. The glass half full, the glass half empty. Who's winning, who's losing, round of 32. A lot to talk about. We welcome in first my little friend here next to me. We call this the official ball of the 1992 World Cup, Tango España. Can you tell me who won that World Cup? Italia, West Germany, second place. Poland, followed by France, third and fourth, respectively. So a little bit of history and another showcasing of the tango. If you notice, the designs there for several World Cups were almost identical. The tango, very popular. And like we've discussed, a little more color now, a little more texture, a little more technology involved as well. So that kicks us off, but that's not the main source of our beginning. It really is about introducing these two gentlemen that are kind enough to be with us, that are working very hard, that are kept up late. Was it last night or one of those nights where we waited into the morning? That's the level of commitment that we see from these two. Tonight, we welcome, first of all, way over there, we welcome in, yeah, there he is. No glasses. He's not professor tonight. We just say hello to Victor Araiza. Victor, good evening. How are you, sir?
Doing all right, Alex. Always a pleasure to be here with you and Enrique. And obviously, you've brought out those balls already like 2 or 3 times. So
you leave
already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying the fact that all these days are already kind of running together. Now I'm just like, we've done this episode already.
I've seen that ball before, huh? You're right.
Hey, you've told this story, and I was like,
Oh,
who did win that World Cup? And then you just said it, and I'm like, that's right. You said that the other time too.
you see the gray in our beards, Victor. That means that we're now, repeating the stories which we never thought we'd have to repeat, but now we are, and we don't even know we're repeating them. So please call us out. It's okay. I'm proud of you paying attention.
Well, let me ask you this, Alex Parra.
Yes, sir.
All of the balls of World Cup history, they're all Adidas balls. Is that a lifetime contract, or is that?
That's a really good question about the commitment. We know that Adidas certainly has been behind it all, and this is the Adidas collection. So clearly, yeah, they must have taken a. I'm sure there's someone on the heels of FIFA, Enrique Vasquez, asking about, hey, when can I get in on this? Because clearly, once you have the official ball, you can sell the heck out of it, whether it's a match quality ball or a replica or just. All the knockoffs in many ways. But I don't have the answer to that question.
But all the World Cup balls that you have now, they're all Adidas balls, right?
They are, yes.
They're not. There's not a Nike or anybody else that's jumped in there, right? Or Void or whoever.
Nope. Since the, and I need to go back to my history. I think it was in the 60s. I'll have to check my history. It's been all Adidas
it says
balls.
Since 1970. This is from
70?
FIFA.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see if there was an official end to this.
70 was Mexico, as we know, right?
Yeah.
70, 74
right.
was Holland, right? 78 Argentina, 82 España. By the way, so I made my. By the way, you can't talk yet, Enrique Vasquez, because I haven't introduced you properly.
I didn't talk. It was just a question from the fans.
All right, from the fans. You're right. On behalf of the public, that was a question. It's a very good question, and clearly we didn't have a prepared answer, so that's not on the script, Enrique. You can't do that to us again. We welcome in the one and only, there he is, center square, Don Enrique Vasquez, who we're equally on the gray there, Enrique Vasquez. But how are you this evening, sir? Good to see you.
Yeah, I did get a compliment, and I asked, and the comment was that you have really good genes because this is still black and this is white. And they asked me if I painted it. No, I don't. So it's just how it comes out, luckily or unluckily. But apparently, I was applauded for my genes.
Okay,
it looks how it looks.
Yeah. Well, at least your facial hair genes. Let's not talk about the other genes. Yeah. No, I don't mean that. I just mean the face, the nose, the voice.
Hey, listen, today, VAR, how are we on VAR today? Making a couple of big calls, the use of it a couple of nights ago against the U.S. VAR today, Croatia. I'm sure the conversation is going on right now as we speak in Croatia about how
The
they were.
cursing.
Yeah, about how they were stolen a goal. That clearly the referee made the call, Victor, that number 20 in the middle of the pitch, in the middle of the 18, touched the ball. You look at the complete up close, zoomed in replay, and there's no movement of the ball. There's no any shift in how the ball is rotating, and then it goes off a Portugal defender, and then it's finished off with a goal. It would seem to me that you were going to go and cancel a goal, nullify a goal. There has to be clear evidence that touch was made, and I just don't see it. And this is beyond, oh, he tried to touch it, or he meant to kick him, or he meant to step on him, like a red car situation. This has to be clear and evident, and to me it wasn't. Croatia has got to be completely and justifiably upset.
I'll let Victor feel that one first, and then I'll give you my opinion. Technology, Victor, and in this particular case, did it get it right? Did it get it wrong?
Yeah, well, again, I think it's we talked about this yesterday. Is there too many cooks in the kitchen, right? How much does the center referee, gonna more than anything, consult with everybody else? I think VAR was basically installed for clear and obvious, right? For all these calls that like the what was it, like the Lampard goal. I forgot. I think it was the Brazil World Cup where it goes off the crossbar, it goes in and like bounces out, and for those kind of errors, right, where there wasn't golden-like technology or where it needed to be reviewed. Again, the hand of God would probably not count in today's World Cup, but just basically to just avoid those kinds of unfair moments that we've seen throughout the years in the World Cup. And instead, it's micromanaged to death, and it's kind of like at some point, when is the center referee going to have the foremost authority and say, well, this was my call, and unless there's something to, kind of like in the NFL, unless there's enough evidence to overturn it, the original call should stand. And I think that's kind of the inconsistency that. And again, it's not like we talked about it. It's not like in the NFL where there's at least like some kind of uniform style of refereeing. It's everybody has their own opinion of how it or interpretation of how each rule is, and certainly when we have like 3 people in the VAR room, I mean, I think this is just, again, too many cooks in the kitchen. It's too many opinions all at once, and it sort of goes back to what we talked about. I mean, is it unfair decisions for these important moments?
And I could see where it's a matter of interpreting the tackle or the contact, but this, I mean, he didn't touch the ball, unless you're going to split hairs and say his hair touched the ball, and now that becomes contact. Now the players behind him is offsides. But I mean, there was just no evidence in my case. And like you said, on the field, the call was no touching. So the ball is cleared to the player that eventually scores, who was onside when the moment the ball was played. So then why are we going back and then without a clear deflection off his head, we take away a goal? That just seems to me like you're trying to invent something that there isn't, when there's not clear, complete evidence that overturns the call that was made on the field.
Let me jump in, gentlemen, on something, Enrique. And again, this has taken me years and a lot of white hairs to figure some of this out. I still believe in soccer and the VAR. Because of technology, they're getting it right most of the time than not. And we saw, there was, yes, the Croatia goal today disallowed. We had CR7, a goal disallowed today, literally by a head, right? The frustration, I think, is depending on your point of view and depending who you're rooting for, not objectivity. These things are right or wrong, and meaning we're still human. The mistakes are still occurring, and the question now is, do you appeal this?
But here's the thing. Let me disagree with you there, Alex. The Cristiano goal offside, that wasn't a question of what do you think. The rule says he can't be offside, and that's how the rule is. Yeah, he's offside, and we may hate it because what's the advantage? His little pinky or his little whatever is on the other side. But the ball was not touched. This wasn't no interpretation of the rule. The ball was not touched. So how do you overturn the call that was originally a non-call, no touch? The play goes on, and we have a goal.
I mean that's the debate, Enrique Vasquez. I think here Victor's right. So make sure you recorded that. I agree with Victor here. Too many cooks in the kitchen. But at some point,
now we're using VAR to get it wrong, as opposed to using VAR to correct it.
Yeah. That's a valid point, but it still continues to evolve. Now, you're right. If I'm Croatia and I'm a Croatian fan, I'm livid. This cost us the opportunity to go into to extra time to fight for the round of 16. And is it an injustice, Victor? Is that a word to use? Is it just something you have to accept? Of course, you have to accept it. There's nothing you can do about it.
I guess it's also the call. I mean, if they're declaring it offside, and what you're kind of deciding is that did it touch the Portugal defender? Again, ultimately the referee went and looked at it. He didn't take too long. He returned the decision. He might even have saved himself a little bit, because I actually thought the game should have probably ended already, because he only added I forget what it was. I forget what it was now, but whatever minutes he was
I
already.
think it was 8.
It was already like 2 minutes over, and so and that's when this goal kind of comes in, and obviously we're going to extra time, or at least that's the thinking now, and now if you're a neutral, you're like, okay, there's 30 more minutes of soccer, right? But certainly, I mean, you saw Ronaldo was living, right? I mean. Who wouldn't be? You're seconds away from, or you probably think you should have already won this game, and this thing's still going, and until who knows when, and then Croatia gets the tying goal. So, I think a lot of nervy moments for the refs. It's tough. It's a tough job for sure. But again, it's not. I think it almost adds more room for error when you have that, which call it handicap of knowing okay, well, I got the VAR and I'm trusting them, and I'm going to go by what they say. And again, you got too many voices. I think we need, but that's where I think you need a strong center official, to basically have the spine to say this is my game, and
right,
and I'm the top guy. And I'll take it into consideration on certain terms what they're telling me, but ultimately it's my call, and he went and saw it and overturned it.
And the thing is, now you almost see referees be tentative with what they are going to call, because, like you said, they're going to go back and refer to the VAR, a safety net, as opposed to call the game.
It feels like a group session when they're talking over each other, and it's like a conversation.
Yeah, call the match. If you see the guy offside, or if you don't see, make the call. I still don't understand why the linesman has to wait until the ball is touched 3 times and the play is almost finished to where he's going to raise his flag. Is he being told now it's an offside, or is he waiting because he has to see it?
No, I think that's the rule where it's. I mean, you let play go on, and then if you call it back and that's easier to do than. You cut off the play, and then you found out you screwed up.
Look. Let me share something, Enrique. And friends, I don't pretend that I could ever be at the level of refereeing a FIFA match, a Division 1 match. Never physically, mentally.
But they are, Alex.
No, they are. But my point is this, Enrique. You having the technology now and the conversations with other professionals helps you make good decisions, and it helps you. You know what? Sometimes I'm no longer a working referee. Referees are going to get it wrong, but there's something to be said to many times. Referees that are really good want to correct it. They want to get it right. There's no plot here to screw anyone over from the top referees, in my opinion. They want to get it right.
That's not my contention. Yeah.
And if they get that through their ear, and in that conversation, maybe you have a little more time to get it right. As a human, we can't process as quickly as the technology now. I think we're reaching the limit. I think one of your points is, and I agree with Victor again, is that when you have too many voices in your head, the buck has to stop with the center, and he or she have to make that call. The support system needs to support him to make that call. But they're still going to get it wrong, clearly.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
we can
almost like
understand.
like boxing judges. You know, everybody has their own viewpoint.
Yeah, a viewpoint, and then we could go on about that, right? Why don't we know the scores of the match in boxing as we're going along, as opposed to waiting to the very end? But yeah, that's another thing. And yeah, and like you mentioned, Victor, I understand the mechanics of waiting to make the call until you're sure. I guess you replay it in your mind. Okay, he's offside, but when the forwards are clearly offside, and we're still waiting for them to touch it, trap it, cut, shoot, and then we're raising the flag. Okay, that's too far. At some point, you got to make the decision. I mean, we don't ask forwards to wait and don't shoot it because you might kick it wrong, right? You have to do it. Your job is to make a call.
Enrique,
as an official, your job is to make the call. Make the call.
But here's the problem, Enrique. And as an AR, how many World Cups have you seen where they were clearly wrong because they didn't have the second or two or three to think and get it right?
Yeah, no, but I agree with Enrique. Like when it's clear
you can't
and obvious,
do that.
When it's clear and obvious,
when it's
clear and obvious,
and you can raise the flag. I mean, then we're just wasting time. I agree on that.
Yeah, that's silly. Yeah, clear and obvious. Make the call. Make the call. Why are we wasting time? What are we doing?
Well,
if there's a doubt, let it play out.
That we're going back to is that, as FIFA or as the game, give some authority, give to the people that are on the field and are in those positions, and then the VAR and the assistant VAR are supposed to be just a complement to say interject if needed, right?
Yeah. Hey, look at this.
Well, the communication goes on, and that's that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, when the referee, let's say there's been a controversial call, whether it ends in a goal or what have you, that communication is, hey, Enrique, take a look at it, slow down one moment. We've got a stoppage here. Let's go ahead and look at it. And the live moment, Enrique and Victor and friends, is so demanding, so stressful. Yeah. Those are tools that can help you. And I think that's the approach they take.
Well, but again, why add more to that when it's already enough of a job? Like,
agreed.
Referee, it's like you can't have a producer you're essentially, right? It's supposed to be just hey, you need to look at this because this is urgent, right? Not every little thing. Like, hey, let's have a group chat while this thing is going on.
All right, Enrique, go ahead. Go ahead and respond to that, Enrique. Go ahead.
No, not so much about that, but I love the videos that I've been able to see online. I think it was the Premier League where they provide you the audio, the conversation that the center ref has with the VAR group and how they go over a play. Once they realize, okay, let's go look at this video. This is the call. Let's look at this, and they have a conversation. I see it this way. Do we agree? And there I can see the function of it. But what I'm talking about in today's case was just the ball was touched or not. There's no need to appreciate what the intent was on anything. It's just whether he touched the ball or not, and there was no evidence of it. So why are we drastically changing and impacting a game in that manner when there's no evidence of it? When you go back to look at the red card, for the U.S. the other night, then I can understand if you're going to look at a slow-mo or a freeze frame of the cleats on the heel, then, oh man, that looks awful. Of course, has to be a red card. But when you see both players up in the air and now you play it at regular speed, it was an accident. It was an accident and maybe a yellow, but yeah, those are two completely different situations. One is an appreciation of what happened relative to the rule of what the contact was or what is allowed. Yeah. This was just a ball deflected or not. And that's a straightforward decision that they completely blew tonight.
Look, I think Enrique and Victor, and you said it, Victor, and I'm proud of you approaching it that way. Being a referee is not easy.
And no, did he agree to me?
I'm disappointed in, to be very honest with you. And we can't have that anymore. So, but it is a tough job. And again, I tell everyone, and Enrique, you and other sports know about refereeing. I tell anyone, look, it's easy to criticize, but can you go and do that? Could you even try to do that? And the split second, and these athletes, Enrique Vasquez, are phenomenal. The quickness, the speed.
And here goes another one for you. I mean, as much as we maybe don't like VAR, what about adding another official on the pitch to assist the center ref? I mean, you handle it. That is handled in football that's handled in basketball. Baseball has different responsibilities depending on where you are on the field. Like you mentioned, this game is so fast, and what you're asking, 30, 40-year-olds to keep up with these young guys
Or older.
and make, or older. To me, that would make more sense. You're in a better position. Going back to the U.S. game the other night,
The red card?
No, not the red card. The play that set up the free kick that tied that gave him the lead. To me, that wasn't a foul. There was contact, but he didn't drag him down. He didn't slow him down. He sold it, but the referee was in a bad position to see the contact, and he called a foul. And look, of course, the U.S. takes advantage of it. But again, that's just the speed of the game. And to ask a center official to cover 100 yards, sprinting back and forth for 90 minutes, to me, that's a lot. I don't know why, or has it? I mean, no, they did, right? Didn't they add in UEFA in the Champions League a couple of years ago another official on the field, right?
That I don't know. That I don't know. You got me on that one.
I must have missed that. Not inside. I don't think inside the field. I mean, to me, that again, that's adding more cooks
were they
to
on the touchline? Was it on the touchline? Maybe that
they
we saw an additional official.
Been. That's where I've seen them say, maybe by the goal. That's where I've seen them consider another official. But I think we're back to the same thing. The buck still's got to stop with the center official.
Enrique, I'm gonna jump in on your idea or the idea of having, let's say, still having your two ARs on the sidelines, right? AR1, AR2, having your center, and then or having two, right? One place, one on one half, one on the other half.
Field.
The problem is, and I again at the high school semi-pro level that I've run, Enrique Vasquez, we've had to run games where we don't have ARs, and you have two on the field.
But that's irrelevant. I mean,
no. My point is, who's got the whistle, Enrique?
Well,
you had
right.
two guys with the whistle, so
Whoever
it's relevant because but what if they disagree? And they do disagree. That's my point.
Well, whoever. I mean, NBA, you have three officials working a game.
I agree.
The court is much smaller, and they all have an equal opportunity to call whatever they see. So that's not that to me wouldn't be a problem. NFL, the same thing. You have 7 guys on the field. If they see it, they call it.
Okay, so what happens when those guys again now get help from technology? So then the group meeting is now 2 guys coming to see it with the aid of technology. So what? They take a vote and there's a polling machine?
Yeah, I mean that happens in NFL. Hey, that happens in NFL. They look at it. They call something. They look at it. No, we'll pick up the flag. No flag. In basketball, we look at the replay. Okay, no foul. Let's go. Let's keep on going. We're stopping already to look at a replay. This would have another official in a better position to make the call, is all I'm saying. And then ultimately, maybe we cut back on the situations where we have to go to VAR.
I don't know if it's going to change, Enrique, for less technology because of and Victor, we'll let you have the last word.
Everybody wants the human factor. Why not just add an official as opposed to going back to technology?
I don't know, Enrique. I got to think that one through. But Victor, we'll give you the last word on this refereeing dilemma, which we're going to see every major tournament.
Yeah, well, I don't think I think it's like everything else. We got to stop making it too complicated. Again, I think you have to have the guys in the middle have a spine, more of a spine, and say, I'm the be all end all. I'm going to make the final call,
and that's it.
Not make this a committee, right? And what do you think? And what do you think? And what do you think, right? And ultimately, the other part of this is an effective video team. We have 3 people looking at this, and here's the other thing, because this is why I don't think you need more officials on the field. You got all these camera angles. I don't have the exact number, but I imagine you have the same access that the International Broadcast Center has. You got to have all the camera angles. I would imagine there's no way, hardly any way, you miss anything, and that's why you have 3 people looking at screens, and they should be able to say, listen, we got this angle you should look at. We think you got it wrong or whatever, if you want to look at it or if you want to stand by what you did, and that's it. And not whatever they're doing to overcomplicate this. I don't know. It's like, are they trying to describe what they're seeing to the, you know what I mean? So I think it's too much.
Let me read you something.
It's that complicated.
Victor, let me read you something. The VAR system utilizes at least 42 to 45 broadcast cameras and slow motion cameras at every
that should
FIFA
be
World
enough
Cup
to have
match.
a good angle.
Man, that's too much to even process quickly. So someone has to guide the center to say, look, we've narrowed it down to these two shots, right? These two angles. Do they help you make a decision?
Yeah, and basically, when you look at a video wall, having the experience of being in a TV truck, you basically know on a given play which angles are going to work for what you're looking for, right? Offside is going to be the wide angle, on the line, or whatever. Now you have a computer-generated image that's going to help you out. But as far as being in a good position to make the call, I don't know. We have the technology, like you said. We just have to use it to help. Yeah, confirm. Just use it to confirm. Don't use it to screw up things.
Well, there's always going to be controversy when it comes to those decisions. We're talking a little bit, friends, about refereeing relative to the Portugal versus Croatia match. The second match, by the way, the third match is going on in Switzerland, by the way. In the 12th minute, it's up 1-0 over Algeria. Just so you have an idea. Enrique, change the news there. Change the... whatever.
Yeah. By the way, let me just add another wrench that's coming. I would think we don't necessarily have it yet, but we do have it in the like the under 20s, the lower levels of the game. I think that we're going to start using this in the World Cups, where the coaches get a challenge call, just like the NFL, to basically ask the referee to go to VAR.
Yeah.
So that's on the way too.
Is that again? How far do we take this? Enrique, what is it? The challenge flag? Is it the red flag?
Yeah, the red flag in the NFL. If you get it right, you get another one back. Or like in baseball, you can challenge the strike zone if you have two. If you keep getting them right, you keep going, getting them right. If you get them wrong, you miss out.
You get it wrong, you lose
way.
it, and that's it.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done. So that's the challenge in that. But for the most part, questionable calls, or I guess situations in a match, it's not that we're never getting to the VAR unless you're Messi and then nobody looks at anything that you did. But for the most part, every other questionable situation or tackle or goal or not or offside, they're already looking at it. So maybe that might not have that much of an impact. And then, but at some point, you go back to this. There's obviously two categories of this. One is rules, situations, decisions that have to go to VAR, and then balls touched in or out, or goals. The ball, the complete ball across the goal line. Do we have a goal or not? Those are the ones that, you just have to look at the evidence. The other one's interpretation, and that's always going to be up to debate of what the referee sees or doesn't see.
Enrique and Victor, we've talked about the evolution of the sport. We're now playing 4 quarters. On top of that, we're going into double digits of at a time because of technology.
Yeah, that's more common, by the way.
And VAR. Now you add challenges to that. You add more substitutions. This isn't changing. And Victor, you were very. I can't believe that. I think this twice I'm agreeing with you in one show. Wise about saying, they went from 3 subs to 5. They never changed that back. None of this is going back into the bottle. The genie's been let out. They went
the other way. They added a 6 for extra time.
Right. Yeah. What I lament is that it's changing potentially. Like today, the opportunity for a team to continue it's changing the way. Also, you're going to be strategic about your hydration breaks. You're going to be strategic about using your challenges. You're going to be strategic about, no, hold on, I've got my 6 people up there saying, now it's time to do this. Enrique.
Yeah, because they already got the iPad too on the side.
Correct.
They're already looking at that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
the game's not in front of them.
So that may be more important than even the emotion or the feeling of, hey, that guy needs to sit down, or that guy he's doing fine. I've seen this, but who said it? I think it was Victor. We're complicating this, aren't we?
Well, I mean, the game is evolving, and now you have to take advantage of whatever opportunity that you can. Like Javier Aguirre mentioned the other day, back when he was a player, there was like 3 or 4 guys that were helping, assisting Boran Milutinovic. Now he's got a staff of 35 people that are, keeping track of everything. Did the guy sleep? Did he eat? How much did he rest?
How much does he weigh? Put in training? Did he gain a pound?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. How much water did he drink in there? So whoever manages it has the better setup. You can't just wing it anymore. So, you have to take an advantage of the situation as much as you can. So that's just the nature of how soccer evolves. So I'm all for that. The better you can do things, and prepare your guys. That's gonna what's gonna determine when the margins are so small at this level. Now that we're at the round of 16, basically you're talking.
I think
it's
I'm
almost
going to
like
disagree.
baseball now, where it's like, oh, we have a pitch count. It's like that in soccer too. It's like, oh, this guy ran this much already. We got
That's
to
his
get him
limit.
on the
Sit him
field.
down.
Yeah.
No, look, excellent conversation, because the word we're using right now is evolution
Hold
of
on.
the sport. Yes, sir.
Hydration.
Okay, time out. Hydration break, everyone. Hydration break.
Just
Please.
where we were going, good. We break the rhythm of the conversation. Right?
But hold on,
That's what everybody boos at, right?
The producer's in my ear, and he's saying, "Cut off Enrique and just have
VAR?
Alex talk."
Yeah.
That's the shot we want right there.
I mean, I was all over
Enrique.
one brilliant point after another, and then you break my rhythm, but with a hydration break.
There you have it. 3-0 Spain winning today, by the way. We haven't even discussed La Madre Patria winning over Austria. Obviously, they're on their way. Victor, Spain is heating up at the right time? Question mark. This is the time to be peaking. This is the time to be demonstrating that, man, they can dominate.
Well, I think the scoreline lies a little bit, because Austria was keeping him at bay there until they finally got that breakthrough goal, and then eventually they finally got the second one, and then the third was just kind of the cherry on top. But look, I think it's not, the result's not a surprise, because we knew. I mean, we've seen some of these nations. Austria, I think we saw it yesterday from the Democratic Republic of Congo. These are all, everybody's competitive now, right? There's not a one side over the other where it's just, blowing them out of the water, right? Even that 7-1 Germany win over Curacao, I think it was still a competitive game, more so than would it be in previous years, right?
Yeah.
Between two nations, that you would think it would just be a landslide. So I think that's part of it. But these smaller countries, or I would say Austria is smaller. I mean, in the context of a world power like Spain, in soccer, they just don't have that extra superstar or that extra key player to get you a victory. And Spain obviously has a few talented players. Maybe it wasn't necessarily Lamine Yamal on the score sheet, but you got guys that got you to the next round. And again, I think Enrique said this yesterday. Now we're getting to the point where everybody's got somebody here in this next round. So that will make it interesting to see, which ones of these is the cream that rises to the top. And then obviously with the results today, it's Portugal and Spain, and that'll be here in the great state of Texas, up in Dallas. Fortunately, up in Arlington, Dallas,
exactly. By the way, Victor, you cannot agree with Enrique and then quote Enrique. Why am I even here at this point? Enrique's right, and I remember when he said this.
Well, Enrique is the one with the Emmy, so.
You're right. I guess you. But I have my Tango España. No. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Well, good luck. Yeah, he's got his. You even have your name on your football.
I thought you were going to say you have your tango on it. What were you saying?
Tango. Make sure we get the spelling right, Enrique Vasquez. We don't want to screw that up. Enrique, Spain relative to what we expected in the bracket, I think this sets up, well, now a very interesting showdown. Potentially, I'm still saying United States, Spain in the quarters.
Yeah, and you almost get to say. Since Spain has just been playing with their food up until now. Hey guys, okay, it's round of 16. Let's go. Let's start. Let's bring it. It's time to flip the switch, and get going. And this is what they do. So let's see. Right now, we're in for a very good match here for them in this next round. And the winner gets the winner of the Mexico-Belgium. I'm sorry, the U.S. and Belgium match. So, but it's those superpowers that tend to find a way at this point of the tournaments on a regular basis, and that's why the group of World Cup winners is so limited, right? Because they just know how to find a way, and that's the waters that now the U.S. and Mexico are going to be treading in this next round. Listening to people, we haven't switched over to that match yet, but listening to the BBC yesterday, they're all talking already about this may be if England goes on to win the World Cup. the way they put it, Wayne Rooney did, is that the Mexico match will be their toughest test, regardless of who they take on the rest of the way, is how they see it.
Because
and
of
which
the
may be
home
the case, and not
game.
so much, exactly, and not so much because Mexico is the best team out there, but because of Azteca and the weight that has, the pressure, the tradition, or the history that England has in that building. We talked about how it's been 40 years since Mexico won, knockout stage match. Well, it's been the first times that England has been back since the hand of God. We've talked about that before. So that implication of what the magnitude of this match will be is what's so important. So, it's a matter of can now the U.S. and Mexico and Canada, for that matter, of course, they have a chance. Why not? They're going to be on the field. Can they rise to the moment and take advantage of it? This isn't going to be so much a situation of being host or not. Pat Otstead is going to be in the building, but maybe that'll help Canada here in Houston. But the CONCACAF, they have something that they've never had in their history, a chance to make it to the next round. All three nations, regardless if they're host or not, that this could be historic for CONCACAF.
Victor, your thoughts on the way the bracket is building, and after tonight there'll only be 3 matches left, and we'll talk about those matches for tomorrow. But the round of 16 will be all set, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, Victor, but I don't see anything that can happen to Argentina to go through. I think maybe Australia might fend well in that match, Colombia, and we'll see what happens tonight. Switzerland up 1-0, but as you look at the round of 16 and how it's building, there's some possibilities there, like Enrique mentioned, for the 3 teams from CONCACAF.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, it starts this weekend. Canada goes up first. And like you said, barring any surprise, unless Cabo Verde just puts on a defensive clinic and takes this to penalties or something like that, I don't foresee any surprise, really. And again, I think we're starting to get now some of the few nations. We probably see Argentina go through tomorrow. We probably see Egypt. And again, Mo Salah against Argentina, if that were the case. I would imagine Colombia, or we'll see if Ghana has enough, juice to go through.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, some of these matchups, and that one's intriguing, Mexico, England, because it's not. I mean, even the U.S., right? They're still in the U.S. They're still on the West Coast. That's an advantage. But they still, L.A., Seattle. Last night they were in the San Francisco Bay Area. But Mexico, other than going out to Guadalajara, it's all been at Azteca. And this one will be at Azteca as well. Whereas England has had to travel and go around. And again, the biggest one is, if we're talking about the altitude, Mexico's been there, again, for the better part of the last month or more, since they started their World Cup camp. And England's got to come in here with a few days' notice if they're indeed getting in, whenever they're getting in. And obviously they're trying to be secretive about their hotel. Although I don't know how much that's going to work, because Mexico, where it's going to get around, either way, for the moment they get to the airport. So, but this will be interesting to see, because England's obviously, I think, one of the probably contenders of this tournament. Obviously, a former World Cup winner. How are they going to fare in that environment? And Mexico. Then we'll start asking the questions of, once they get out of Azteca, can they keep it going into the United States? They'll have the people behind them, but as far as not having that distinct advantage in their favor.
There's so many factors, gentlemen and friends that are watching us, and thanks to all you that follow us here on Deportes Nation. We're live on X, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. So many factors, Enrique, at this point. Not only the matchup. You're right, and Victor, I can't believe I said it again. He might be right. The travel, the logistics, the wear and tear. It really starts. It's really a team effort. Not only what happens on the field, but your support staff, your travel staff. You talked about the many assistants now that all these teams have, Enrique Vasquez, with nutrition, with sleep. There's so many things that have to come together.
England's had some episodes too, because they were based out of Kansas City. They had like a tornado warning one of those days, right? So they were sheltered in place in their team motel. There was a day, I think, where they got ransacked and all their stuff was stolen. So they've been through a couple of things here, through this whole World Cup journey. And obviously they're going to Mexico and what that's all going to be.
Enrique,
Canada,
yeah,
people can complain about. I'll just add this one,
please.
because Canada tonight would be playing. If they had won their group, they'd be in that Switzerland spot. They'd be playing in Vancouver, and then the next game after that would have also been in Vancouver. They would have had that similar advantage to Mexico. Instead, they got to come to Houston, which is not that far. And again, there's some Canadians down here, but because I've seen people complain saying, well, Mexico gets to stay in Mexico and the U.S. is still in the U.S. and how is Canada a co-host? But they got to play in the U.S. now. Well, they didn't win their group.
Take care of your group. Enrique, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? Is that part of the calculation here? If England can withstand and get through Mexico at Azteca, man, they can take on, in my opinion, Brazil and think about getting through to the semifinals.
Yeah, but first for Mexico is what might kill you. What is that going to do for you in a game? Because Mexico hasn't had really any kind of adversity. They haven't allowed a goal. I mean, credit to them. They haven't allowed a goal. They've kept a clean sheet. But what's going to happen if England goes up a goal? What's going to happen if they tie them? What's going to happen if all of a sudden things don't go well even in Azteca? Fans are fickle.
They'll turn on you quickly.
They could turn on you at halftime if they're losing 1-0 to England, and that could certainly be the case. There's no way to think that England isn't capable of pulling out a win. I think they're the better team. Player by player, they're the better team. On paper, they're the better team. But now they have to do it in very hostile environment. But what's Mexico going to do again for the first time this tournament if they go down a goal? And of course, they're able to pull it off. My goodness, they're on a roll that they're going to believe that they can indeed go and take on Brazil, no matter where that game is going to be. And that was going to be my next question. Where would that game be if they do pull off the win against England? Where would they take on Brazil? Where would that match be?
I'll have Victor help us with that as I make a quick point, Enrique.
That would be that's interesting. I was actually going to mention that because again, once they get out of Azteca and they come into the United States, I don't want to say it's too tricky because again, if they're still in the United States, Mexicans will find their way there. But they're going to the East Coast. It ain't like they're going to go through California or even Texas.
Yeah.
That game against Brazil would be in Miami. Which I think if there's one corner of the United States where Brazil could maybe, again, depending on who buys more tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't discount Mexicans and their will, their desire to want to be there. But Miami, that's a place where maybe Brazil could actually it'd still be 50-50 or maybe Brazil even get more fans there. Yeah. Depending, yeah. So we'll see what that ends up being. That could be a weird environment.
Victor, when's the last time Mexico didn't play a home game in a tournament in the America? Not even, Alex, not even. Here in the U.S., they're basically the home team.
Oh, they are, without a doubt. So the adversity. Now, I think Canada still has an opportunity. That's the last match, by the way, that'll be taking place here in Houston, and we wanted to talk a little bit about that. You mentioned Pat Olmsted, the president of soccer for the Houston Dynamo. He is a Canadian national team legend. He was a goalkeeper for the Houston Dynamo, of course. Grew up in Vancouver. That support, that infrastructure, I think is important. Morocco's a very good team, Victor. I'll put you on the spot here because this is coming up on Saturday, July 4th. Does Canada have a real chance here? Yes, they're no longer at home. Will they have support? It's a different environment than where they've played before. But Morocco's found a way to be there. To me, Morocco goes in as a favorite. Am I wrong, Victor?
I think so because of what they've done recently in the World Cup. They were a fourth place finish last time. They were in semifinals. These teams actually faced each other in the group stage. Morocco won 2-1, but that one goal was his own goal. And but I think for the recent accolades and obviously Morocco, like it or not, on however was decided, they're the reigning African champions.
Yeah.
And Hakimi is clearly one of the better players, perhaps the best right back in the world. So, but I do give Canada a chance. Let's remember it's an air-conditioned stadium, so it's as neutral as you can make it a field. I do think there'll be some Canadian nationals, plenty of them here in Houston. It's not far from Canada anyways. There's a lot of Canadian transplants, but We'll see. And they have an American coach, which on the 4th of July, let's see if that works out for them.
Enrique,
But you know,
yeah, Jesse Marsh has gotten beat up a lot, Enrique, because he, almost being a traitor in some way, and I think it's taken it way too far. I think he's found a
Well,
job.
and it doesn't help that he gets asked about the U.S. and all that stuff and get linked back, and he
yeah.
also continues to talk about it, kind of like uh, you know, like a jealous ex-girlfriend type of deal.
He's not going to let it go. Should that be a factor? Should that be a criticism? He's doing a great job, Enrique. He's doing his job. He's moving his team along, and yeah, there's some rivalry there with some of his former mates at different levels, and him being American. One day, maybe even an American will coach Mexico. Enrique Vasquez. Am I just crazy?
Oh yeah, you're crazy in that regard. I don't think that would ever happen. But no, but for Canada, they have a chance to win. Obviously, they're going to suit up and they're going to lace their boots and they're going to be on the field. But they have to play a perfect game, and they may need a couple of calls or breaks to go their way to pull off the upset. And it would be an upset. Morocco is the better side. So but I think this is where the Canadian run is going to end. But it could be still a very strong finish for them. I mean, if they make it a match and they don't come in and just fall on their face, they're going to be happy with the run that they had. And obviously they've made progress, and their side is not only the Mexico and U.S. Now in CONCACAF, Canada being a good side, a competitive side, and now at the world stage level, the run that they're making is just good for CONCACAF. Again, going back to the big picture, we've talked about how's this going to help soccer in the U.S. Well, how's this going to help CONCACAF in the region to gain more respect and gain more credibility in the world stage? And certainly what these three nations have done so far leaves them in a pretty good standing.
So let me ask you, Victor, and we'll talk about tomorrow's matches. Again, we are watching live Switzerland and Algeria. Switzerland won up in the 33rd minute. But Victor, out of the three nations, the host nations, Canada, United States, and Mexico, I think for Mexico, it's a pivotal moment versus England. If they can pull that off, I think things, of course, I think they should be facing Brazil. United States can get through one more round, and I'm going to say the adversity they faced versus Bosnia and Herzegovina can make a difference now in the way and the maturity. If Canada can pull off an upset against Morocco, and I'm here with Enrique, I think this is the end of the run for Canada, in my opinion. Can one of these teams make it to a semifinal? Can we have United States and Mexico in a semifinal? I mean, could we have all three teams get through? That would be amazing.
I think three is asking too much,
Yeah.
just because France is still out there, and I think that might be too tall a task. It's Canada's bracket, but I think Canada can certainly get one more step forward. And look, for Canada, it's already the best ever finish they've had. It's already a success. I think if they lose here Saturday, nobody's gonna frown on what Canada's done, especially because they recovered from how they were playing early. I think they were, especially in that first game, they were held to a tie by Bosnia. They were probably lucky not to lose. Yeah, they beat Qatar in a big win, but then it was kind of a bummer that they didn't win the group when all they had to do was tie against Switzerland. And again, that would have kept them home. Here they have a little bit of a new life after they, sort of got an easy out there with South Africa, with the way, South Korea sort of blew up on itself. And the team basically was a failure for that last group stage game and didn't make it to the round of 32. They survived. They get that victory. Now they're here. If they got nothing to lose. If they beat Morocco, that would be a big win. And that, I think that would just make it an outstanding success. But Alfonso Davies has to be on the field, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Jonathan David has to be on a good day. Those guys are going to be key. Eustachio was excellent in this last game. I don't know if he's going to stick around at LAFC. That was kind of a bit of a dream signing, I would say. Just the way that LAFC got to have him for 6 months, and we'll see if he goes back to Europe or what happens, or if they are able to extend his loan, purchase him, whatever. But I got to think those guys got to be under a game. Crepeau can have a good game. And again, it's air conditioned, and there's a lot of Canadian transplants here in Houston. I think they could they can make a game of it. They can certainly take the victory. And again, whatever the storyline with Jesse Marsh or Canada or whatever, if they can get through the next round, that also it's great for the region because it puts the pressure on the U.S. and Mexico to
Absolutely.
Keep moving forward. And Canada actually was fourth place finish in the Copa America this last edition. It was like 2 years ago. So they've done it here and there in CONCACAF. I think in the previous qualifying cycle, I believe they finished first in the Hex. So there's some things that they can have to their name. But this one, if they can get further forward, they would really lift the standard here in the region.
Enrique, I think we're leaning you and I toward this maybe the last game for Canada, and maybe hopeful about Mexico and United States. Is that the way you see it, sir? And can maybe 2 out of the 3, or certainly 1? And then if we had to narrow it down to 1, which would that 1 be? I'm leaning more to the United States right now to getting through than Mexico, because I think their pivotal moment's going to be at home against England. And then what? You win that, and then you got to go face Brazil in Miami. I mean, nothing's impossible. United States, I think, yeah, they're going to have to face potentially, to me, Spain, if they can get through Belgium. But what are your thoughts on those 3 teams? Who can make it to a semifinal?
Yeah, well, if you go 2 for 3, you're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, those are good. That's a good batting average for CONCACAF if they can pull that off. I think the toughest match on paper may be the Mexico-England. If that was at a neutral site or a non-Mexico site, I think that would nullify a huge advantage that Mexico has, but it's not. Yeah. The game is in Azteca, and that is a huge advantage for Mexico, for altitude, for the crowd. Are they going to sleep the night before England? That is. Not because they're nervous, but because Mexicans are going to find a way to make as much noise as they possibly can. They're going to find out where they're going to stay. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pull off a little dummy hotel, or skip out at 10 o'clock at night or something. Sneak off and go sleep somewhere else. But no. And then for the U.S., if it wouldn't have been for the red card the other night, I would have been way more confident. But now, because people are going to have to come off the bench, because Pulisic is maybe not at 100% form, having been limited by that injury, and he just ran out of gas the other night. And now he's going to have to shoulder a little bit more of the responsibility of attacking and creating for the U.S. side. So that's where I'm maybe a little bit more nervous of the U.S. pulling out and playing and doing what they need to do to win this match. Do they have the talent? I think they do, but I think the toughest soccer related scheme and what the players have to do, I think Mexico has a tougher matchup. The U.S. may be harder because they lost their best player of the tournament so far, and Balogun is going to have to sit out.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a problem. Hopefully, there would be more games ahead. So, friends, we're getting closer to wrapping up the round of 32. Let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's matches relative to what's left. And I don't think here I don't see many surprises. Victor, I think I give Australia a little bit of a chance, but I think Egypt should go through there. Argentina without any issues. Colombia, to me, without any issues. And that side of the bracket, to me, is building up to Argentina continuing to head in the direction of a semifinal.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's see if Ghana can make it interesting, just because I think that might be a tricky opponent if you overlook them.
Yeah.
But I think Colombia is certainly strong enough to get past them. Argentina obviously should be more than enough for Cabo Verde, and that Cinderella story is coming to an end, I would think. But we'll see. We've been surprised before. And then again, Egypt, I would have to think if they don't get through, that might be the upset of the day if Australia gets the win there.
We're able to pull it off. So, friends, what are you thinking? And quickly, we haven't really talked too much about this in the context of Mexico versus U.S. watch parties. I go back to this. When Mexico plays England, that's on Sunday, right, the 5th. Shell Energy Stadium will be packed with fans. It's an official.
Yeah, Sunday night. That's going to, if we've already seen record numbers for viewership in the United States. Mexico, England on prime time on a Sunday night. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it's what it is, right? Prime time.
Yeah,
So
that should blow up. Interesting how that's evolving at Shell Energy Stadium. Am I wrong, Victor, that there's no official watch party in Houston for the U.S. men's national team?
not at Shell. They teamed up with a local bar, and I believe they were buying the first round. I didn't go down there, but we'll see how that continues. And again, we've seen U.S. watch parties across the United States. Hopefully, it keeps building. But I mean, obviously Mexico's on another level.
Victor's going there strictly for journalistic purposes.
That's
Exactly
right. Yeah. I want to see if they honor that. Yeah, or they just lure people down there and doing the whole switcheroo and saying, "Oh, we ran out of the free vouchers."
He's going to bring 3 shirts with him, Alex Parra. He's going to change out shirts and come back with glasses, a hat, and hey, where's my free beer?
My first free beer.
My first free beer. Yeah.
His
Wardrobe
first,
change.
The third time he gets his first beer. I understand that.
Wardrobe change.
Yeah.
With the games tomorrow, real quick, Alex. Yesterday, you Jedi mind tricked me into picking Croatia to pull off the upset. So I'm going to go with Australia. You picked Egypt, and I think Victor did as well. So I'm not going to go with you guys. I'm going to pick
You're disagreeing
Australia
with us?
in the upset. Yeah, I'm going to pick Australia in the upset tomorrow.
From down under. I don't blame you in many ways for picking that. So friends, what are you looking at? Who do you think will be the teams that go through tomorrow? I think we've had some technical issues here. We've been trolled. So we'll have to figure out what happened.
We've been hacked.
We've been hacked. You see, exactly when we were talking about these things.
It's the VAR officials. The VAR officials push the button and
we get hacked. Well, we'll just have to survive with this 3-shot. Anyway, a lot still that has to develop. Oh, sorry, hydration break. All right, we need hydration break.
Let me add
music.
something real quick.
Yes, sir. Please.
So Fox, because again, I was maybe their post game stuff's a little bit. Telemundo is not giving them a lot of work or lots of an argument on that, and plus Fox had Chicharito, so I kind of wanted to just see how he worked his English and how that worked. But Fox had an interview with Gianni Infantino where he talked about the water breaks, and he basically said FIFA's getting no money from the water breaks. Any money that they're making commercials, that's the broadcasters, and they're in their own right because of the agreements, and plus all the sponsorship stuff was wrapped up before the World Cup, and then they installed the water breaks. So there you go, the FIFA president trying to rub it off that, hey, don't look at FIFA. We're not taking any pennies from this. It's all, you want to get somebody mad at somebody for the hydration break commercial thing? That's a TV station.
And that makes sense. And that makes sense. I mean, because it just makes sense. Obviously, all these broadcasters, they have to get their money back. They have to try to raise those, recoup the rights fees that they've paid. And obviously, those have been substantial for most countries. How does it work in Mexico? I have no idea, because obviously in Mexico, you have TUDN and TV Azteca who have the rights. Here in the U.S., it's only one exclusive broadcaster per language. So I don't know how it works. How much money they have to pay who? The TV Azteca and TUDN, Televisa, do they have to write a check to somebody?
Yeah, I think historically how it's worked, I have to double check on this one, but historically I think Televisa has the rights from FIFA, and then they loan them out to Azteca, or Azteca, buys some of the, and then that's how they split it.
But they each have to write a check, right? It's not a freebie. So they still need to get their money back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There are no freebies in this business, Enrique. Now, that said, Enrique, the game fundamentally has changed with hydration breaks, and I understand the reasoning behind it. I understand the need in certain weather to protect the athletes. It's still changed. So it's kind of like FIFA may not be directly gaining, monetizing that, but they're kind of looking the other way with their partners and saying, go ahead and make some money off of it. You're right. It's logical. It's almost necessary. But what's next? A VAR timeout when we're watching the VAR, and then a little commercial's gonna pop in there, right?
Picture in picture, and then you get the VAR on one side and the commercial on the other.
Yeah, or the VAR brought to you by, basically.
Exactly. Wow.
The VAR brought to you by. But the thing is this. I mean, all these people are complaining while they're sitting on their couch drinking a cold whatever, complaining about these athletes having to take a break. I mean, you go out there and run in Miami next weekend at a world-class pace, and see if you don't need water. I mean, every other sport takes a water break. So to me, this was like long overdue. I mean, what we asked these guys to do on the field to hold up for 90 minutes on the tournament, with a quick turnaround, and now the buildup is really, for these teams that are making it this deep into the tournament, some of the guys have played, all the minutes. So give them 3 minutes, 3 minutes for water. Come on, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the
but
world.
historically, I mean, it's not that they can't have water breaks. Usually, you kind of sneak them in there if when you kind of lean by the sideline. But I think it's the fact that this was an endurance sport, right? It's 45 straight minutes, and now you're basically having this extra advantage to talk with the coach and readjust and all that stuff, and that's where again, how much is the game changing to what it used to be?
But how is the game changing now, though, Victor? In that now, to me, I think we've seen a decrease in the number of guys just laying on the field, taking a break because they were kicked when they really weren't. They're just taking a break for their buddies to come get some water. So we had, like you were saying, that we had hydration breaks before. They were just not official hydration breaks because now that if you roll on the field, you have to come off for a minute. So all those breaks in action have been relieved and eliminated. I don't know about eliminated.
There's been some rules for that stuff too, right? Like one of the new rules is if you don't get off the field in time, that's another one, right? And so
So I think in the end, I think the pace of the match, the pace of the actual competition of the ball in play has increased, or maybe there's a better flow there. Now we have a built-in 3 minutes, and people maybe don't have to go to the ground and fake an injury and have the unofficial hydration break. Now we just have an official one.
Yeah, and it's also strategy session with 73 coaches, each telling you what should be happening. That's definitely.
We got to run the plays that are on your board, on your chalkboard, Alex.
Yeah, you mean these? I can't even show you that right now because the gremlins got to us. Friends, we appreciate all you that have been following us. We really, really do appreciate you keeping up with us and us keeping up with the tournament. Find us on the social media, whether it's X, Instagram, YouTube, however we communicate. Ask us comments, ask us questions, send us your comments, etc. We've got to go, gentlemen, but Victor, let's start with you. Any last words to wrap up today? Looking forward to tomorrow. One more game in Houston. What's on your mind?
Yeah, just the last round of matchups here in that final quarter of the bracket that's missing. And then, of course, we get to I think, again, these bigger high-profile matchups. We get the better teams going through. Plenty of great storylines, certainly for the last one here in Houston, Canada, Morocco. The goalkeeper of Morocco was actually born in Montreal, although I grew up in Morocco. And and we talked about Jesse Marsh, 4th of July, all that stuff. Plenty of storylines, and I hope we keep it going.
We've got to find a way to keep it going. Enrique, what's on your mind? And you know what? The troll left. So this is tomorrow with matches. Maybe this is something you want to talk about, Enrique Vasquez, but what's on your mind as we close out the show?
Dog days of summer, normally here in the U.S., all the talk is about whatever is happening right before the All-Star break in baseball, Major League Baseball. But heading into, 4th of July weekend and being the 250th anniversary, obviously, of this country, it's so amazing for us to realize that the talk of the town, sports-wise, in the U.S. is a World Cup. And that, to me, is what the story is as you head into this weekend, is that the world sport has taken a big stage here in the U.S. and the Americas, Mexico, and Canada as well. Of course, we can't ignore that. But really, from this point forward, it's going to be the U.S. It's going to be the U.S. showcasing their stadiums, their cities, their fans, the hospitality that's been incredible on the world stage. And what better way to kick it off than 4th of July weekend? And this weekend, for that reason, is going to be special in the sports world. A nation that is sports crazy already, for whatever the case may be. Obviously, NFL, basketball, baseball. Now that soccer is reaching those same levels here in this country. Obviously, we know what the World Cup means worldwide, but here in the U.S. now is just reaching a different level. And that is just so cool to see for all the people that we talk to on a regular basis that maybe aren't as big as soccer fans as we are, for them to enjoy it and appreciate what this game is and what now this World Cup has meant to this country. I think that's, in the end, what's going to be celebrated about this weekend and this tournament as we move forward here the last couple of weeks.
I can't believe I have to agree with him as we close out the show. He got it right.
Hit it out of the park, Alex.
Yeah, that's why
Well,
he
we
has
still
that
we
in
still
me.
have to see what happens. Let's see if we don't have another, O.J. Simpson car chase type of deal.
Now, would it all if is in this next round?
Yeah.
The U.S. crashes out. And I'm not saying lose, but they crash out. Mexico crashes out. Canada crashes out. Is that going to put a damper on this whole thing? Do we need at least one of them to win this weekend?
Enrique, I think one of them winning is taking us to that historic level. I think we're already almost there. You mentioned the impact locally. You mentioned the impact in the state. It's making many people see what maybe some of us already knew, that the demographics are changing, that our society and culture are changing, our sports culture is changing, that it's changed, but not in a negative way. It's about embracing it, just the opposite. And if one of the two teams, Canada, amazing so far. I think the run ends, but who knows? But if Mexico and USA can get through one more match, I think it's guaranteed, Enrique and Victor, that something very special is going to happen to the sport, and something that I think will be not only historic, but will be generationally changing things finally. After the promise, Victor, of soccer for so many years. I've heard that it was the up-and-coming sport since I got to this country in the late 70s. And it hadn't happened. It didn't happen after 94. This could be that moment, Enrique, to answer your question. So that is exciting. And for us to see it, I guess while we're still here, Enrique, it makes it potentially more special. So, Victor, I'll let you talk about that because you're the young one in the group.
I just, make it brief. I think the U.S. and Mexico have to get through another round at least. I feel for it not to feel like a bummer for everything that they've been building. Mexico to top England, the U.S. to get past Belgium and into that game with either Spain or Portugal. I think that would be huge to get to that type of stage, and otherwise it'll feel like, in a different way, obviously with a different generation and a different start to the tournament. But I think it would feel like what could have been. Right. Yeah. And then the other one here is Canada, I think, is playing with house money. It'd be great. That's why I think it'd be great for them to get even further. But I think even if they finish already, it's already their best ever finish. And I think they can lean on some things. Obviously, Alphonso Davies has been not 100%. So it wouldn't feel too bad, especially with Morocco and what they've done recently. It wouldn't feel like such a failure of a campaign, even with not finishing top of the group.
Anything is possible, and certainly, why not us for the United States? Can Mexico make it a little bit further in what's going to be a classic match, potentially at Azteca against England, and in Houston, the last match that is being hosted in the city? Can Canada find a way to defeat Morocco? A lot of questions. We'll have those answers here in the next couple of days. Friends, we've got to go. Thanks to our production team. And the gremlins were finally kicked out. So we were able to figure that out. On behalf of Victor, on behalf of Enrique, I'm Alex. Thanks, friends, for being with us. We really appreciate you tuning in. Hydration break for Enrique Vasquez. Enjoy your evening. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.